back to happiness. Whoop-ah, oh yeah, yeah. Said goodbye to loneliness. Whoop-ah, oh yeah, yeah. I never knew I'd miss you. Now I know what I must do. Walking back to happiness.
So this is a walk of fact and fiction. I just think it's an incredibly fine line between the two, and quite often stuff you make up subsequently turns out to be true. Quite often stuff you believe to be true turns out to be rubbish. I'm not going to define which bits are true or false. That's up to you to decide which side of that line you want to stand. But before we actually go on the walk itself, it's worth just sort of imagining yourself here in about 1830, because obviously there was no train station here, and it was around the time when actually people were settling into the natural geography of this area, which is, as you can note, we're on the sort of base of a small incline there, there's one over there, but historically there used to be a much bigger hill in that direction, and we'll come back to that a little later. A lot of people wonder why Surbiton got a train station ahead of other places. The reason, as is well known, is because it was to get the freshwater sardines into London as quickly as possible. And it's actually why there are straight routes down to the river. Indeed, it's interesting that some of those initial alleys are now known as the river routes. So the sardines were brought here and taken up to London, and it's why we still have the expression packed like a sardine on a train down at that. There is an alternate version, it has to be said, which is in 1836-37, they wanted to bring a rail line to Kingston. Kingston, the great burghers of Kingston, decided they wanted to protect their coaching trade, and as a result of that, fought having the railway there. So the railway was brought to Surbiton, and at that first point it was known as the Kingston on Train or something like that. However, in 1838, a man called Terry died. He owned what was Maple Farm. The land was snapped up by a guy called Pooley, and Pooley bought it for £10,000, recognising that actually the importance that the rail could bring to this area. Within a matter of weeks, he was offered £120,000 for it by a cartel of businesses in London, but he refused because he wanted to see his vision through. Much of what you see in terms of the road layout is still down to what Pooley did. So we'll go to one of the most sort of famous areas of both his and other people's design. Is this loud enough? Is it dull enough? Right.